He bought her car, he paid all her bills, everything she wanted, he got it. She told the mom she was afraid. So we tried to protect her, but this time he just caught her slipping.
Police officer that we pay to protect and serve park his patrol car, go in the bushes, go into my daughter's house and point blank execute her. He need never see the light of day again. And I hope he die and burn in hell.
May 19th, 2019. Oxford, Mississippi. A Sunday evening like any other. Kids playing outside. Families winding down for the night. Nobody expecting anything to go wrong. But inside one home on that quiet street, a 32-year-old mother of four named Dominique Clayton was asleep. She wasn't out late. She wasn't in any known danger. She was in her own bed, in her own home, exactly where any of us would feel the most safe. She never woke up. Later that evening, it was her 8-year-old son who found her, an 8-year-old child. Let that sit with you for a moment. No child should ever have to carry that image for the rest of their life. But he does, and he will. Now here is where the story takes a turn that is going to make your stomach drop. Because the person who showed up to that home claiming to investigate her death was the very same person who took her life. He had a badge. He had a gun. He had a wife at home. And he had a secret that he decided was worth more than Dominique's life.
Mississippi police officer has been charged with murder in the death of a 32-year-old woman.
Before we go any further, if you believe that every life deserves justice, no matter who took it, drop a comment below and tell us what state or country you are watching from. Let Dominique's story be heard around the world. And if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. Because we cover the cases that demand to be told. Stay with us. Because what this man did, how he tried to cover it up, and how the truth finally caught up with him. You need to hear all of it.
Tonight, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is trying to figure out who killed an Oxford mother in her own home. Good evening, I'm Joe Burge.
And I'm Conji Anthony. Police are releasing very little information about this case. WMC Action News 5's Kelly Cook is in Oxford with what she has learned about the investigation.
Family says Clayton's 8-year-old son made the gruesome discovery. Now, state investigators have been called in to figure out who would want to take this woman's life. Monday afternoon, brand new twin beds were being delivered for Dominique Lachelle Clayton's 4 children. The kids can't go to their home next door because it's now a crime scene. Yellow tape and Oxford police officers still surround the home more than 36 hours after the 32-year-old was found dead inside her home on Suncrest Drive in Oxford. Her children now living with family next door.
It's terrible, and shocking that, it happened and it was so close to my mom. And everybody over here is like a tight community and they talk to each other.
One thing everyone echoed in this Brittany Woods neighborhood was Clayton was a devoted mother. Clayton's body was found 2 p.m. Sunday. Investigators wouldn't say how she was killed, but Clayton's mother and sister, who did not want to go on camera, said she was shot in the back of the head in her bedroom while they believe she was sleeping. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation has now taken over the case at the request of the Oxford police. Oxford police would not say why that request was made. The family just wants answers as to why this mother's life was taken so soon.
I just think it's a terrible situation.
NBI says they will not release any more information while this case is under investigation.
Oxford's interim police chief says Officer Matthew Kinney has worked with the department for 4 years. He said early on investigators learned Kinney was possibly involved with the victim. At a news conference Tuesday, Oxford interim police chief Jeff McCutcheon wanted to make his message clear.
This badge stands for truth and justice. And today is about justice for Dominic.
McCutcheon announced one of his own men, Matthew Kinney, had been arrested in connection to the homicide of 32-year-old Dominique Lachelle Clayton. The mother of 4 was found dead Sunday afternoon inside her home on Suncrest Drive. Family members told WMC Action News 5 she had been shot while sleeping in her bedroom.
We want the truth out and we want justice for my sister.
Oxford police requested the help of the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation.
Once the investigation is complete, all facts and findings will be turned over to the district attorney for review.
We went to Kinney's listed address, but no one came to the door. Neighbors say the news leaves them uneasy.
If that's the case, I'm not going to let that reflect on another officer's actions. I still have the same respect for any other officers.
Clayton's family had no further comment Tuesday, so as not to disrupt the investigation.
They crossing all their T's and dotting all their I's. So right now, that's it.
Good morning. My name is Jeff McCutcheon. I'm the interim chief of police at the Oxford Police Department. Thank you all for being here on such short notice. The purpose today is to provide as much information to our community as we can without jeopardizing the case. For that reason, we will not be accepting questions at this time. We will answer questions, we will discuss and do interviews, but today is not that day. First, our hearts go out to the family of Dominique Clayton. To the family, we thank you for your patience and your trust in us to see this through. It was discovered early on in the investigation that one of our officers, Matthew Kinney, a 4-year officer with the Oxford Police Department, was possibly involved with Dominique. We immediately contacted the Mississippi Bureau of Investigations to protect the investigation and to provide our community with assurance that the investigation would be independent and unbiased. To our community, we know that you're hurting, and we want to assure you that we will not hide behind our badge. This badge stands for truth and justice, and today is about justice for Dominique. Dominique was a mother, a daughter, a sister, a friend, and a member of our community, and today is about her.
Emotions at an all-time high outside this Oxford courtroom after an officer accused of murder appears in court. We've also learned the officer has been fired. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Kanji Anthony.
And I'm Joe Birch. That former officer has been in a relationship, allegedly, with the woman he's accused of killing. WMC Action News 5's Kelly Cook caught up with the victim's mother after the hearing, and tonight she reveals the reason why she says Matthew Kinney was driving to kill.
Oxford Police's interim police chief says Matthew Kinney is a danger to the community. The victim's mother says the possibility that he could be released on bond is not justice for her daughter.
Police officer that we pay to protect and serve park his patrol car, go in the bushes, go into my daughter's house and point blank execute her. You want him on the streets? You want him as your neighbor? No.
Bessie Clayton not happy with the judge's decision to defer the bond hearing for 38-year-old Matthew Kinney, charged with murdering her 32-year-old daughter, Dominique Clayton.
Kinney committed murder, and we do not want him out. We support them, and we will stand by them.
Emotions spilled outside the courtroom as family felt the judge was treating the case too lightheartedly.
This is murder. He should have been serious.
The mother of four's body was found in her home Sunday afternoon by her 8-year-old son. The family says she was shot while sleeping. Oxford police knew early on in the investigation that Kinney and Clayton knew each other. Family says they had been dating for about a year, with Kinney paying for many of her expenses.
He was doing things he couldn't afford to do. The only way he seen out was to kill my daughter.
Kinney worked for the Oxford Police Department since 2015. Tuesday, the Oxford Board of Aldermen voted to fire the former Mounted Patrol Officer of the Year. Now Kinney sits in a Panola County jail cell. Her mother left to grieve the loss of her child and start the process of raising the 4 children she left behind.
He need never see the light of day again, and I hope he die and burn in hell.
The judge deferred the bond hearing to sometime next week. A date was not given.
If the facts determine that it was not capital murder and it was simply murder, the family is going to want him sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole. We are not here to prejudge any of the facts, but we are confident that no stone will be unturned in discovering the truth. The family also wants to know, why did certain members of the Oxford Police Department initially tell them that their loved one had committed? That was so shocking and the furthest from the truth. The mother had spoken to her daughter about 6 or 7 p.m. the night before she was found dead, and she was totally happy and full of life. But for the initial reaction from a member or two of the Oxford Police Department to tell the family that she committed, That had to add insult to injury.
After finding his mother shot dead in her sleep by her married boyfriend, a cop, the 8-year-old son of Dominique Clayton has had a hard time.
He's crying in his sleep. He's reaching for his mom in his sleep. And his dad, he crying watching his son crying in his sleep. And it's tough.
Behind bars. That's the sentence for a former Oxford police officer who pleaded guilty to a 2019 murder. Action News 5's Ariana Poindexter has the latest on Matthew Kinney's plea deal.
Joe and Kanji, court lasted for about 20 minutes from start to finish, and during that time, former Oxford police officer Matthew Kinney pleaded guilty to capital murder in the death of Dominique Clayton, meaning he will spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole. Dozens of Clayton's loved ones were at the plea hearing. They said they wanted the death penalty, but are still pleased knowing that Kinney will spend the rest of his life in prison.
Thank you. Justice has been served.
Former Oxford officer Matthew Kinney is serving life. He pled guilty to capital murder after breaking into Dominique Clayton's home while in uniform and killing her. Now, the two were reportedly in a romantic relationship at the time.
Matthew Kinney did not walk into Dominique Clayton's home that night in a moment of blind rage. He drove his patrol car there after his shift ended. He parked out of sight so no one would see it. He walked through an unlocked door. He found her sleeping, and he shot her once in the back of the head with his own 9mm service pistol. Then he left. And this is the part that is almost impossible to process. He came back, this time in his official capacity as a police officer, performing what he called a welfare check. He stood over the woman he had just murdered and played the role of a concerned officer doing his job. He told investigators it looked like a suicide. There was no gun at the scene. There never was, because Dominique did not take her own life. He took it from her. For about a year leading up to that night, Kinney had been in an affair with Dominique. He had been giving her money, lavish gifts, financial support. But that was becoming a problem. The spending was adding up. His wife was getting closer to finding out. And rather than face the consequences of the life he had built in secret, he made a decision. He decided that ending Dominique's life was easier than ending the affair. That was his motive: financial pressure, fear of exposure, and a complete disregard for the life of a woman who trusted him. What broke the case open was security footage. His patrol car had been captured arriving at her home and leaving before he ever made that so-called welfare check call. The timeline did not match his story. When investigators pressed him, the truth came apart. He confessed. 2 days after Dominique's body was found, Oxford PD fired him. He was charged with capital murder. Now, let me ask you something, and I genuinely want to know what you think. When someone who is sworn to protect the community uses that same badge, that same access, that same authority to commit the very crime they're supposed to prevent, what does justice actually look like? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This is a conversation worth having, because here is what we cannot allow to get lost in the details of this case. Dominique Clayton was not just a victim in a true crime story. She was a mother. She had 4 children who needed her. She had a life, a home, a future that was taken from her by someone she trusted, someone who carried a weapon and a badge that was supposed to mean safety. She was 32 years old. Her son, the one who found her, was 8. No court verdict changes what that little boy saw. No sentence gives those 4 children their mother back. And no amount of time erases the fact that the person who was supposed to represent law and protection in that community was the one who destroyed it. Dominique deserved to grow old. She deserved to watch her children grow up. She deserved the most basic thing any of us take for granted, the right to feel safe in her own home. Remember her name, Dominique Clayton, not just as a case, as a person. If this story moved you, please share it. Share it so that more people know her name. Like this video so that the algorithm pushes her story further. And subscribe so you never miss a case. Because there are too many stories like Dominique's that the world still hasn't heard. We will not stop telling them.